Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your brother Solstice Beats coming back at you with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over something a little bit different. It's going to be kind of more geared towards beat making philosophy. And the topic of today's video is drums. So I thought I'd make this video because I've just kind of had the idea pop up into my head the last few days, so I was just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna make a video on it. So here we are. So what I wanted to talk about with drums is, obviously, I'm pretty sure this is pretty apparent, but if you guys don't have good drums in your beats won't sound good. No matter how good the sample is, no matter how good all the other elements, if your drums are fucked up, your beat isn't gonna sound good. And this is something I used to struggle with a lot when I first started making beats. Is I would just take, a bunch of drum samples that I found in like a Reddit drum kit, and I tried to take the best sounding drums that I possibly could, and I would try to finger drum it and record a pattern that I thought sounded pretty good. And from time to time I would actually be able to make some pretty good drum patterns that would complement the beat well. But when I started using drum breaks, I noticed my beats got way better. And the reason for that, in my opinion, is because there's just no way you can replicate the feeling of an actual drummer, like a real good accomplished drummer, unless you're some sort of like finger drumming god, which I'm not. And it would be great if I was, but I'm not. So what I ended up resorting to is just messing around with breaks, and you can find breaks at record stores, a bunch of different areas on YouTube, different compilations. There's a bunch of breaks out there, as well as like you can find acapellas on records and hip hop records and stuff like that. So I definitely recommend you guys mess around with some drum breaks. And a technique that I like to use when using drum breaks is I take some stuff from Tammuz and from AJ Hall. Giving you guys the sauce right now. This is literally the breaks that I use. British library music, stuff like that. So what I do is I take like maybe 16 bars of a drum break or something like that. But a lot of breaks are a lot shorter. So at the end of the day, work with what you got and do the best with what you have. And if it's a really good break, doesn't really matter how long it is, just try to over time implement different changes, because if it's just the same break pattern the whole beat, some beats, yes, that'll work because the sample's got a lot going on, there's a bunch of different things going on that you put into the beat, and that can work. But some beats, it just sounds repetitive as fuck, and it doesn't sound good. After 2-3 minutes, the listener is just getting tired of hearing the same pattern over and over. So what I like to do is I chop the break, put it over like 16 to 22 pads on the MPC, and then I rearrange it. So I might play it from left to right all the way up, a bank for the first 8 bars, and then I change banks where the drummer started doing a different fill or played the drums slightly differently, so it adds variation. So then I end up with a 16 bar loop where there's variation in the drums over time, so it keeps the beat interesting. So that's something you guys can implement in your beats as well, is when you're messing with breaks. You could even add a different drum fill from a different record, just make sure it's in the same key as a drum break that you're working with, and that way it stays interesting over a long period of time. So add variation to your breaks and try experimenting, chopping them up, rearranging the order in which it's played, so it's not just a blatant copy of the break that you are using. The next thing I want to show you guys is some examples of my earliest beats that I've made, where I was actually starting to get better at finger drumming and programming drums by recording them from my hands or whatever, instead of using breaks. And then I'll show you guys some of my recent beats where I started implementing breaks and started experimenting with the techniques that I just gave you guys in this video. And you guys can see a pretty big night and day difference. I think even though some of the sample chops were really good in some of those earlier beats, the fact that the drums just weren't hitting right kind of just completely ruined those beats, unfortunately. But we learn from it. And as long as you learn and you grow and you learn something from every beat you make and you get better, that's all that matters at the end of the day. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to show you some of my earlier beats and then just compare them to the beats we have now to kind of just really hammer home the point that I've been trying to make in this video. Alright guys, so I got some of my oldest beats loaded up. These are from, see if my camera can focus on it, from 2022. So I'm going to play a couple of these beats so you guys can kind of hear what Solstice was doing back in the day. And then I'm going to play some of my recent shit so you can hear what I'm on like right now. So here we go. Let's play this. Alright, so that's one. Let me look for another. I think this one will be kind of cool. Play this one right here. Those were just a couple examples, and now I'm just gonna play something I actually made yesterday. So turn up the volume on my mixer. So I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I feel like that's a pretty big difference in terms of like just how the drums sound and how good the drums are. Like, that's not even me playing. That's I think that's a break I got from AJ Hall. Again, me giving you guys the sauce. But I just think it's a huge difference, man. The drums will just really elevate your beats. Even if you have decent chops, man, if you got killer drums, that shit doesn't even really matter, man. I mean, up until a point, you know, like if you have shit chops, and of course, you know, everything in the beat has to be good for it to sound good, but man, drums can definitely carry a song, man. Let me play another one. Let me see if I can find something. Here we go. Alright guys, so I hope this video helped you guys out in your beat making journey, and what I was saying like kind of made sense. I'm still trying to work on articulating myself better and, you know, trying to get my points across a little bit better. So, you know, hopefully this video wasn't an incoherent mess, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about drums, guys. Is just make sure that your drums are on point. You don't have to use breaks. I mean, whatever works for you guys, man. This is what, you know, worked for me personally, and I just love working with breaks, and I love the way like it sounds, the rhythm that you can capture that a drummer like has and like can add to your beat is just amazing in my opinion. Hope this video helps and it was interesting, and if it provided value to you guys, please consider subscribing, as it really helps my channel out. And also please let me know what your thoughts are on, you know, the topic of this video, which is drums. Let me know what you guys' approach is, how you know, tackle drums on your beats. I think it'd be really interesting to hear what other fellow producers do in terms of their approach on drums. So without further ado, guys, it's your brother Solstice Beats. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for watching and stopping by. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.